Isn't it so frustrating that people just don't care about your data governance project? Like, data governance is super important, but people just, their eyes gloss over the two words, data and governance. Is there anything more boring sounding than that? But what they also want is clean data. They want the answers in the dashboards and in your reports correct. They want outcomes of algorithms to be accurate, but they don't care about data governance. They don't want to know. So here's my top tip to solve this problem. You ready? The top tip is don't talk about data governance. It's as simple as that. Just don't call it that. Don't call it that. Don't talk about data governance. It's really that simple, because governance, it conjures up these ideas of process and policy and boring things that people don't want to be involved with. They just want the exciting outcomes, which is business value. However, data governance is important. It is a very critical part of delivering a foundational platform and foundational capability that gives you that can give you firepower to your business and deliver all these wonderful things. So we do need to talk about the things that data governance is about, but just don't talk about data governance. So what do we talk about instead? We've got to talk about business impact. What's the impact of not sorting some of the things out that need to be sorted out, like data attributes, like master data, like filling in the form that needs to be filled in after a sales meeting. We can also talk about risk, like what is the risk associated with not looking after your data in a good way? And we've had loads of examples in recent months at TSBs and Facebooks and all these sorts of organizations where there is a real risk that not looking after your data in the way that is positive can cause some real issues. We can talk about losing trust. Now, clearly, if there's a relationship between customers and businesses, then there's a trust that needs to be built up. And if you screw around with their data, if you screw around with how you use their data, your customers that is, then you can potentially lose trust. And that's a big impact on your business and the outcomes that your business is trying to achieve. You can talk about losing money. So if you can't range a certain product, if you can't see that there's an issue in your supply chain or in your operations because some data hasn't been filled in by somebody on the front line, this all impacts on money and the financials and therefore the investment capabilities and the ability to improve the business because that data isn't there. And if you think about reputational damage, there's lots of different things we can talk about that are the impact that not having good data governance has on your organization. So my top tip, just don't talk about data governance.